We're going to finish today's Maamer, I think, too. That's we are up to the second paragraph, yes, of Eistes. We finished the first paragraph, correct? Folks, yeah. You're all on mute. Okay, good. So he was saying that Kaisef Kol HaYotzim Mechemes Beis David, Kaisef get Christus Leishtoi. Beis David as opposed to David. These are the two levels of Ben David, explained by the Rebbe Rashab, or David. Tchilas Haveda, Iskafia, Shleimus, the Gili of David, Ishapche. So it starts off, the Tchilas Haveda is Kaisef get Christus Leishtoi. Even in Yonim Mutarim, there's no compromise. And his Avodah is in a way of no cheshbonis. Even cheshbonis of Kedusha. It's permissible and it's justifiable. And all of the calculations, he's mevazves his own oitzeres, his own treasure, his own storehouse, which you elaborate upon in the next ois what that means. And the goal is total victory. The objective is total victory. So Nimshach, continuing now the second ois. So when the person does this, in the last words of the previous ois, he doesn't reckon with his own mitzias, but he enters completely into the Melchemes Beis David. It's a decision. First and foremost, a commitment. Then, Nimshach Gam Ken Milamayla. So this elicits Milamayla. Shmavazvazim is called Eitza Shalamayla Vore Elu Hayetza Melchemes Beis David. For those who have enlisted in the Melchemes Beis David, so heaven squanders all of their treasures, since in response to the person giving himself to the very depth of his being. Through going out in the Melchama in Abol Taher Messiah. Says the Gemara, the one who comes to purify himself, he's helped by heaven. So if you really come, then you're helped. Another quote, this is from the Gemara in Yuma, a person sanctifies himself a little bit down here. You say, how to be Milamayla, sanctified greatly from above. And what is the help? Hashem reveals his storehouse. What is this? Is the Gemara Yiras Hashem Eitzrei. The fear of God is his treasure house. The Gemara says Hashem is nothing other than his treasure house, and then fear of God. That's what he keeps, as it were, for himself. But this he gives. That this Hashem then grants this level of connection that is beyond the person himself. But he only gets it when he surrenders everything. When he gives his oitzah. And what does it mean, oitzah shal yireh shemayim? That the Yid is empowered with, that heaven gives him. It seems that what he's alluding to here is that, as we all know, Akel b'dei shemayim chutz mireh shemayim. Heaven determines everything except for fear of heaven. That's something that you have to do. So here he's saying that this treasure that heaven doesn't give normally, you have to acquire it on yourself, each one on their level. Here, the person is given this, Eitzah. When he gives himself totally, What's the gift that he's given? The gift that he's given is that his connection to Hashem be beyond his own means of connection. That it's total and absolute. He's empowered. So mitzad yireh shamayim ein nafke mina benyin hayoseh chomel yin hayoseh kal. From when the avodah is yireh shamayim at this level of yireh shamayim, not yireh shamayim in the sense of fear of punishment, but the true yireh shamayim, awe. So there's no difference between a so-called serious transgression or serious mitzvah, heavy, a weighted one, or one that is kal. In the hierarchy of halacha, there is such a thing. The Raisa, the Rabbanan, in the Rabbanan itself, there are many levels. In the Raisa, there are many levels. And there's minhagim. But mitzad the Eitz of Yireh Shamayim, there's no difference between any of that, even even in areas which are not commandments at all, and it's completely permissible that about a yid has to sanctify himself there and not engage in it indulgently. So there's no difference whether it's that or it's a deraisa, fasting in Kippur, eating matzah, putting on film. The kivin sheyireh shamayim, since he's yireh shamayim, v'yedei she'ein zeh kefi ratzon elyon, and Hashem doesn't want this, whatever that it is, it's all equal. This is coming from a deep place of Yireh Shamayim, of the Etzem and Neshama, and Mitzad Etzem and Neshama, and likewise the Etzem of Elikus, the Maila, every detail is Negeya. As you said before, when it comes to the Emes and the Tzochem, there's no room for exclusion. Absolute truth is absolute truth. In addition to him getting all of this, these tremendous koiches, showing his galus Hashem reveals that which is normally not revealed, the treasure of Yireh Shamayim. Is also the king himself is mafkir his life. This is the of that Yidden went into Golus, the Shechina goes with him. Melech, being the Eibush himself, is with him. And this is the king endangering his life. The Eibush to become in Golus and affected by us. In Golus with us in this in this very intimate way, the king himself. And all of this, the king himself invested, is in order all to achieve the victory. The objective here is not birurim, that's the first kind of milchama, where it's a strategic war in order to gain resources. This is not the milchama. But it's a total victory. There is no opposition. It's for this that the Eitris are revealed. And this is the meaning of, simple meaning of the pasuk is, it's a pasuk in Shoftim, it's the song which the Rebbe wrote together with Barak after defeating Sisera. So she says that a simple pshat is that Jews were afraid till this victory to live in open cities because they were open to attack. They were vulnerable. And now Tzidkas Pirzoyne B'Yisrael. So now she's saying that Yidden will be able to, the Hashem's kindness, that they'll be able to be in prozes, in open cities, without fearing. So now deep at Pshat here. So it says in Gemara in Psachim, Tzidkas Pizdroin Le'Lashon Pizur. Pizur means spread, open. The first stage in Avodah is being spread. What does this mean? Same Gemara there. That Hashem did a kindness, this is the deeper meaning of the pasuk, that He spread us amongst the nations. Simple pshat is that if Yidden are threatened in one place, they'll survive in another. That's a simple pshat. So elsewhere it's explained. The deeper pshat is that it's spread amongst the nations. That through being spread amongst the nations, so we attract the Gerim, which is not, doesn't just mean Gerim in the narrow sense, explains the Alter Rebbe, the literal Ger, by showing in Birani Tutzit, it's the Birani Tutzit, it's in Tutzit Kedusha, which Hashem caused to descend in Klippa, that Yidden attract and redeem and elevate. That's the beginning. So that's the first level of Milchama, which is in order to gain territory, resources, Nitzutzi Kedusha. That's the Avodah V'Skafi. But the Tachlis is the more the Pasha, the Pshat of the Pasuk, showing in Prozis Teishav Yerushalayim, which is an allusion to the final, one of the Nevuos of the Geula in Zechariah, that Yerushalayim will no longer have to be a walled city because there's no fear of attack. So that's the higher level. First, Pirzoina is spread out, Nitzutzi Kedusha. Then the simple Pshat, the deep one is the simple Pshat, that an open walled city referring to Yerushalayim, symbolically, there's no need for a protective wall of Yishlayin, Menagid Klal, because they're no longer an enemy. That's the highest stage, the deeper stage. And what's the parallel in Aveda now? Not Iskafi, but in Aveda Disapcha. Transformation. Right, we're clear. This is Beis David. The two levels of Milchama, Iskafi and then Isapcha, as explained at length here. Yeah? Let's conclude. Yes? Maamer, and he concludes in the Maamer, meaning including Yud Aleph, which talks about all of this, which the Rebbe is elaborating upon. Shem Tzvokers and so on, all explain the Tzova, the army. And this is the Yidna called Tzivus Hashem Lefi Shem Anshe HaChayil, because Yidna are the soldiers, Hashem Oisim L'Tzin Shem Bakim, they do the Eibish's Rotzen, and the Rotzen is Inyan Atzmi. Inyan Atzmi means that there's nothing other than a Likus, L'Nagid, it's a Menagid, that every opposition has to be completely defeated, not exploited, but defeated. Because exploited means he's still a Metzias. There's something other. And it's to them, according to the Rebbe, that heaven opens the Eitzara Elyon, the supernal treasure house, for the victory. The Nagid is a Menagid. I know that which he speaks about at the end of this chapter, about the opening of this supernal treasure. Kosher is connected with that which he began the paragraph with. Explaining the Yidden called Tzivus Havaya, it means a soldier, army. That's the Ikar Aveda. As we said before, that the other Pirushim of Tzava Meloshin Zman, that it means time. Meloshin Tzivyon, and it means Tzivyon Shinin Yiskalulus, which means connected with others. It's a little bit hard to see how that is, but I looked at the second Maamer, and here's it brings from the Gemara. The Gemara says that, and then explains, end of the account of creation, the Pasuk says the Eibishter created them al tzivoisam, according to their hosts. Says the Gemara, al tikra tzivoisam el tzivyoinam. End of Gemara. So the Mefarshim explain what a tzivyoinam means. So one of the taiches of Meloshin Tzavi, desire, that every creation was created according to its desire, as if to say Hashem asked it, do you want to be created? Which needs to be understood. There's no it to ask. But at any rate, it's created according to its desire, means, the also means, their desire. I'm suggesting a pirush here, that each creation was asked, this is all symbolic, about the creation of everything else as well. That each creation was masking to the creation of everything else. That's desire, therefore he's leading to iskalalus. That's the iskalalus, that each one was agreed to tzivyoinam, their creation, the creation of all else. So Hashem factors, in simple language, if this is correct, Hashem is factoring into creation to begin with this harmony between all aspects of creation. They agree to it, meaning to say it's part of, they're wired in this harmonious integration between all creation. In Avodah, he said that means that in order to achieve victory, you didn't have to be united, harmonious. The soldier on the front has to work in complete harmony, to be one unit, the one inseparable unit, band of brothers, right? So that's an integral component and condition to the milchama. Every moment is precious. Every moment, that's the first taich, is skalalus, the second taich, but the main avodah is, and what? Tzova, the soldier on the front. So in brackets, he goes into say, as he said earlier, tonight, these two components are conditional, conditions and preparation. You're on the front, fire. Oil, following orders and achieving victory. Likewise, the amshachas from above. So through the avodah that a yid does, as explained before, that he is the true soldier. Case of get krisus, shemafkis called mitziyus, he abandons his entire mitzius. In order to achieve victory, so therefore he elicits the same response above, as it says in Pirkei Avos, explained by the Magid, that which is above you. Says the Magid, it means the deeper meaning. No, what is above, comma or dash, bimach from you. Everything that heaven does is in response to you. It's all dependent on our avodah. So through his avodah of his self-abandonment here, so this also elicits above alien, that each one is opened to supernal Eitzav. He said before, it means the Eitzav Yerushalayim, but it means also, it's all connected, the greatest revelations of Pnimius HaTorah, she's Galal Osid. They're really intended, as it were, to be revealed in the future. But it's given to him now to achieve that. The pasuk in Shir Hashem is referring to Lasid Lavai. Kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, Kipirish Rashi. Rashi explains it means Shakoil, time made Torah. She's Galala said the secrets, the reasons of Torah, which will be revealed in the future. That's given to him already now. That's the Gili of Chassidus. And not just the Gili of Chassidus, but the closer we get to the end of the Milchama, the deeper the Giluyim, and the Kotesichas, that was my Morim, which is the ultimate Oitzer. Just like in Avodah, even though she can avoid it, the main thing is you've got to be a soldier. Like Yossi, your achlata that you made. For those who didn't hear, that Yossi's achlata, Yossi Elman, his birthday was the other day, is to utilize his time. And he is suggesting, it's a nice, it's a very vague, but a very practical thing, that the night before, he sets down on paper, what he wants to achieve, and not to utilize his time the next day. So the Rebbe is saying here, this point, that it's true, the main thing is your attitude, you're a soldier, and you're Bal Mesiras Nefesh, but you got to be organized. It's got to translate in Tzava, Melashon, Zman. It's got to come down into time and utilize every moment. In other words, it is the Toyu, but the Kelim the Tikkun. It's part of it. So everything has this time and place, and every time and place has to be fully used. So this Tanai is also part of what it elicits. The Gili Milamaila also, therefore, is, and it can make an agam by Gili Delasit. Likewise, that the Gili Delasit, on the one hand, Shugila Yes and Naila, so it's infinite and boundless and timeless and beyond time, on the one hand. But the Chiddush is that what Statachlis Bazehi Sheyia Gili Gambis Manamakim Adla Mata Mata. But this Gili permeates time and space down to its minutiae. It's a chibur of gvul and bligvul. And this happens through our Avodah. The bligvul component is his attitude, he's about Mesiras Nefesh. Bottom line, he's there and he's devoted to the cause, and that's sincere and true. But he translates it in an orderly, every moment is used. That's the chibur of gvul and bligvul within him, and he elicits that same Gili Lamaila, Shegam Gufa Gashmi, Yargish Elikus, so much so that the physical body will feel a likus, Kamishakosov and Nigla Kvedavaya, the glory of Hashem be revealed, V'ro Kol Basar, and the flesh will see. Okay, so let's make a very quick overview of this Maamer, as they do for us in the Teichen Inyanim, the content, the pages that outline the content. So let's do that, yeah, and then we'll continue the next Maamer. Yeah, not sure. Maybe I'll put this over here. I don't know. Okay.
Page test.
Oh, it's the first Maamer. Okay. So I'm just going to read. I'm just going to translate. This is not. This is whatever. So the Gemara says, it was yesterday's chitas, the other day's chitas. Zeh shmir lo olam, spelled without a vav. V'zeh zichri l'doir v'doir. So this is still in the pasuk. This is my name lo olam, spelled without a vav, to be read, to be concealed. Don't say my name, and then zen zichri, then mention my name. So we don't say it, we do say it. So Rashi explains that like shani nichtav ani nikra. You do say my name, not the way it's written. It's written Yudke Vavke, but it said Adnai. Reason, because Shema Vaya Shema Etzem. And therefore it's not shy to call on it, because calling means Giloy. And then the diak of the Medrash, the Rebbe told Moshe Rabbeinu, you want to know my name? If you might say Ani Nikra, I'm called, referred to by my names, that even though all the names are the Svidas, but the tefillah is, it's Ani Nikra, the Atmos. Nimna Nimno is the hidden from the hidden. But the Amshocha is through the Eiris and Kalim of the Svidas Lefi Maisai. And there was a whole arichas there, and the three levels, the Pardes, the Baal Shem Tov, and then the Alter Rebbe, which will be explained at greater length in the next Maamer, the next two Maamerim. The union of what's the union of Shemus and Kalim and so on. Inyan Melchama, the true Inyan Melchama, which is total Nitzach, is shaykh by a Godel in general, but the true Inyan by a Melech only. This Melchama is high the Medidav Akbala, and for this, because mitzad the Melech, there can only be the Inyan of the Melucha. And therefore, the Melech has mevazves all of the Eiteres. And likewise, the Maila Shem Tzvokos, which is Midas and Nitzochen, is Murshish and Atmos, because what is Netzach? Nitzochen is, it's not a Midah per se, it's the words of the Zohar, the Varami Gufa, it's outside the body of the person. The Guf of the person is Chesed, Gevurah Tiferes. Netzach Hoyd Yesoid, and Malchus are facilitators, the implementers. What's Netzach? To overcome every obstacle. For what? For the Rotzen, for the deepest desire of the person. Because if what the person wants is not coming from his Rotzen, it's not victory at all costs. If it's a cheshbon, there's a cheshbon. And there comes a point where it doesn't pay. Not the time, not the effort. Again, the kind of war that is a cheshbon war, that it's a war in order to facilitate booty and gain and territory and resources. That's not all out. So you don't need midas haritzachim there. Because it's not coming lechatchila from the rotzen. It's coming from seichel. But when it's the person's expressing his rotzen, why? Because the whole etzem kiyum of the Medina is at stake. That's his desire. We mean here rotzen as rotzen atzmi. That's when the tzachon kicks in. The tzachon says victory at all costs, no matter what. When is it employed and what is it employed for? To complete the rotzen. That's why he's saying that netzach is mushish in etzem hanefesh. More so than all of the other akaponim, certainly more so than chesed, gvura, tiferes, and seichel, which all have their parameters and cheshbonis. It's not all out. You love, and if the person doesn't want to be loved and hates you back, so you don't love at the end of the ava, etc. Everything has its parameters. But rotzen is about the person, not about, it's about his essential need, desire, identity. So that nitzachen, which means, again, nitzachen means two things, eternity and victory, as in netzach nitzachim, because victory doesn't end till there's no stopping it. It goes on until victory is achieved, and it's lasting. If it's only temporary, it's not a nitzachen either. True nitzachen is forever. That's just hapcha. Tzapcha means that there's no more any battle anymore because there's no enemy anymore. Akoponim, so Shem Tzvaka is given to the soldier, the foot on the front line. He is the one that implements the Rotz and Atzmi of the Melech. And that's the Indian that we explained that Netzach is Mushish and Atzmus. And therefore, for the Indian, for the Tzoa, for the soldier, so Mavaz was all the Oitzeres and so on. The beginning of the Avodah is Havayat Tzvakos. That's the Nevi'im. That tzvokis is independent. And Havai is nimshach. It is nimshach, and this is the help that we get to overcome the Yitzhara, but the Yitzhara is real for us. That's the beginning. So that's the nimshach in Biyah. That's Yiskafia. That's the Nevi'im. Then the middle stage was Yeshua, without going into that. The Memutza stage. That's in the avodah of Iskafia, he has the attitude of Isabcha, as we explained. But simply the two stages, Tachlis is Tzivis Havai, Moshe Rabbeinu's Dagi, Chudi Ilah, Isabcha, that Tzvakas is bottled, Tzvakas means creation, is bottled B'Tachlis, the Shem Havai, Chudi Ilah, that's Gili or Atzilus, that's the Matzav of Atzilus, the point is that becomes the Matzav here, and that's the avodah of Isabcha. Then he said all this exists in Torah. Yeah, first he said Torah versus Tefillah, then he says Nigla versus Pnimius. And even though the Ikir Gila Pnimius at Torah, where there's no opposition, is Lasid Lavai, but that's Cholas even now, because all the Giluim Lasid Lavai are dependent now, Veda now. You all following this? It's all gelling, yes? And then finally, it's we just learning now, that's called the final bottom line of it all, that's called Yitzim Mechames Beis David. Case of get Christus li ishtoi, that in order to be menatzeach, the union of Beis David, which leads to David himself, the Melech, so it has to be a complete nitzachim. Even in Yonim Mutarim, etc., there's no compromise. Everything is the Kavon El Yoina, and it starts off with the hymn that he completely abandons his own cheshbonis and comforts and everything for the avodah, and that elicits the damshocha, the empowerment that he gets milamayla, the oitzesh milamayla, oitzev yerushamayim, pnimius hatayra, the keiches given to us. It's all opened and culminating the geluim lasid lava yishakenim nishikas priyu.